you have to do startup costs. You have to go down to how much the spoons are going to cost if you're opening a taqueria. Those little things, I think in the long haul will help out. I always say, this is my opinion, you should budget for about 6 months, of picturing that nobody's going to come and buy your product. So if nobody's going to come buy your product, you need 6 months worth of funds to continue the business open. What does that include? Rent. Rent still got to get paid no matter what. Electricity and so forth. You total all that and you put that, you should have the startup costs of the business and those funds in the savings account. And that's how you should start a business. You do a startup costs first. After that, you should do a business plan. And I know a lot of people say, business plans are so dry. They're hard.
Terrible.
And they don't even know, how do you even start one? Get advice. There's a lot of smart people out there that sometimes they can do, but they're very good at teaching and they're able to organize your ideas. And that's sometimes what people need, organization in their idea. And then do the steps, make sure quality control and all the little things. But if we go back a little bit into that, you have to know one of the biggest things is being compliant with all the agencies out there. I can't emphasize that the most. I have a lot of people that start a business without any licenses. I just had a client who got hit with the labor board. They got hit for $120,000 for not having payroll and having workers' comp insurance. Those little things people don't see. They go, yeah, I'm so energetic, which great that you need that energy. But hey, take a step back and look at all the things that can be negative along the way. And, so get advice. There you have to get advice, get your ideas organized, structure how you want to get taxed. One of the first things I always tell people, have you ever noticed that in any application for a corporation or for any type of business, the first or the second line is always, what type of business is it? Is it a corporation? Is this a sole proprietorship? Is it a partnership? There's a reason why that's on there. They want to know how you're taxed. They want to know what type of structure you're putting your business in. Normally, if, Jaime the jardinero goes and opens a landscaping business, he's probably going to be a sole proprietor. But there's a lot of times where you need to, organize yourself and know, hey, you know what? This is the best structure that I want to do for tax purposes, if you're going to have investors and so forth, and then go from there. And, walk the line. Okay, so I'm already a corporation. What's next? What permits do I need to get? There's a great website online that a lot of people don't use. And, if you go on there, it'll literally, you put in the industry, whatever you're going to be opening your business of, and it'll give you a list of all the permits that are associated with the business that you're opening, down to the city where you're going to open it. What if you need a business license? As funny as this, a scale in a business. So let's say you're opening a grocery store and you're going to have a scale to weigh products or so on. There's an agency for that needs to regulate that scale. Funny enough, a lot of people don't think about it, but it's something that you got to do, And
yeah, and what site is that?
Agricultural department handles scales.
You mentioned a website that you.
So it's in the Secretary of State of California. They actually have a business tab on there where it'll help you. You punch in. It's called. I don't have the name off the top, but it is sos.ca.gov. You go on there, and it's our Secretary of State. That's where you file your corporation articles and so forth. But they have a lot of resources for you to be able to open your business the right way.
You were mentioning about a friend of you or entrepreneur that had a business and was hit with a penalty for, from the EDD. But one of the things that I'm noticing is that many Latino entrepreneurs, they start doing business not very formally. Probably they get some license, some permits here and there, but they tend to pay in cash.
Mm-hmm.
Since you are a payroll specialist, tell me about it. What's the risk? Is that lawful, unlawful?
It's not unlawful if you're keeping correct records. I have a CPA. Everybody should have a CPA to be able to ask all these questions. So it's not, I won't tell you to follow my opinion, but if you follow the right record keeping, cash business, there's no problem having a cash business as long as you keep correct records. Unfortunately, like you said, a lot of people don't keep any records. Come the end of the year, they go see the tax guy and they're not organized. They don't know how much income they had. They don't know what they paid. They didn't, there's no records of the cash business. Like you said, unfortunately, a lot of Latinos start informally just because sometimes it's just our culture where we do things, but they're scared. They're saying, no, if I report everything, I'm going to have to pay so much taxes. Well, you can report everything, and there's legal ways to be able to take deductions and not having to pay so much taxes. You don't have to hide. There's ways to be able to report all your income, and then later you're able, once you have a sit down with your CPA or any tax consultant or somebody like me that can advise you, we'll say, hey, do this, do that. And this year, since you're a startup, you're probably not going to pay any taxes,
So all the things that you're mentioning that you need to open a business, where do you find that there is a list, like type of licenses that you need, permits? And
exactly.
Is there a place where you go and say, checklist, okay, the 20 things you need to do to open a business?
Actually, not that. It'd be nice if they had that checklist. But they actually know what it is just a website. It's a drop-down box where you pick the industry, what city you're going to be in, what type of business, and so forth. Once you click it, it gives you a list of every agency that you need to register with. It'll say Internal Revenue Service. If you're in California, Franchise Tax Board. If you're paying payroll taxes, EDD. If you're reselling an item, Board of Equalization, you got to get a seller's permit. Down to the city. If you're in any city, you have to go down and get a business license. All those items are down to the county as well. If you need to register with the county, get a DBA, that's on that website. And you can actually go and say, okay, this is what I need to do before you even start. And there's cost involved. Those are maybe not a lot, but there's always costs in starting. And those are the things that you need to look into before starting.
Interesting. Now, there is you mentioned it before, workers' compensation.
Yes,
Many people don't have it.
Yeah.
It's because it's an insurance, kind of.
Yeah, it's an insurance for employees. Employers are supposed to have it by law. I'm not an insurance agent, so but it is required that if you're an employer and you have an employee, they must be insured. Unfortunately, not everybody gets workers' compensation. Some people go years without, any problems. I advise to always have it. One, it protects the employee, and two, you can avoid the type of problem I told you my friend had, where the Department of Labor showed up and gave them citations. Funny enough, you can go to jail. People don't know this, but you can, if the officer wants to take it down that path, if you're paying without withholding taxes and you don't have workers' compensation, it's on their regulations. It's actually could be a citation, and you can go to jail.
That's amazing. Now, what about retention, Social Security, and all that stuff? So you are a specialist. That's your specialty, yes. Correct? Mm-hmm. So how does it work? So that's one of the questions I get the most. I started a payroll company, and funny enough, we are, we specialize in helping Hispanic, non-English speakers understand what payroll is. It's not as scary as people think, but if you understand payroll and you understand your responsibilities, you can make better decisions, for the future. And it's just, everybody has that, payroll taxes. Oh my God, they're going to take so much from my check and so forth. If you just get, you have a conversation of 20 minutes with somebody that understands payroll and explains it to you, you might be like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. I can make adjustments. So, for a lot of people that don't know, I can explain real quick. So let's say, for example, you have an employee that's going to work all week and you're going to pay him $1,000 for his, work. And that's going to be his salary. There's a lot of taxes involved. There's taxes on the employee side and there's some taxes on the employer side.
On the employee side, he has to pay Social Security, which is one of the big ones that we know. At this time is 6.2% of the pay. So from the $1,000, the employee's got to pay $62 for Social Security. The next one is Medicare. It's 1.45% as well. After that, you have SDI, state disability insurance. The employee has to pay. And then personal taxes, both on the federal and state level. So you're talking about 5 taxes on one check. So from that $1,000, all of a sudden just became $850 because, of all the taxes. Now everybody goes, well, why do they always take so much? The first 3 are set by percentages, which is Social Security, Medicare, and SDI. They're set, but personal and personal state and federal taxes depend on your status, if you're married or single, and how many dependents you have or how many allowances you have. If you put 0, they're more than likely they're going to take a lot more depending on your pay frequency, as well as if you put 5, they're going to take a lot less depending, again, on pay frequency and so forth. That's on the employee side. Funny enough, what a lot of people, they think that it costs nothing to the employer, but funny enough, they do. The employer has to match your Social Security. They have to match your Medicare. They have to pay FUTA, which is federal unemployment. Those taxes have to be paid by the employer. So the employee always thinks, oh, he's paying me $1,000. He's just going to pay the $1,000 and take all my taxes, and I only get $850. No, we're probably going to take the additional, which is around the first $7,000, about 11%. And keep in mind, it's a little bit more detailed than this, but I'm just giving you an overview. So around $1,100 are going to come out of his bank account in order to pay both the employee's salary and the taxes that are his responsibility for paying that $1,000, which nobody ever talks about. If you actually listen to anything on the radio, any type of help, and nobody ever tells you that. I mean, it's one of the, I think that's why people are so scared about, because it's not out there. And especially our Latino community, we don't know. So what happens is, no, pay me cash. It's easier. No, it's once you're like, oh, you know what? It's not that bad. I can work around it, or, let me charge a little extra so I'm able to cover payroll the right way, and so forth. So that's what we do at ABS Payroll Solutions. We try to, not only offer a great service, but, teach our clients so that they can make better business decisions. One of the mistakes I made with this current company, funny enough, was that I got in debt. I was living a lifestyle. I got, to live a lifestyle that I couldn't afford. And I'll give you an example. In 2013, I think I made $22,000 net profit, and I spent $50,000. You might say, well, where'd the other come from? Well, it was family and credit cards and so forth. The following year was a little better, but I was still living above what I was making. I made some investments to buy better products, better website, and so forth. That put me even deeper down to the point where I got really bad in debt. But I did have a profitable business, so I kept that in mind. I'm going to pay, essentially. It was till around about 2015 that things switched. I was making more than I was spending. So I started paying down all the debt, and right now in 2018, we're there. We're making enough so we can.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Now, what's more important in your understanding for you? Passion or order? Order.
Passion can only get you so far. That can die anytime. If you have a plan, if you organize yourself, you can actually set yourself up for the long haul.
So that's order for sure.
For sure.
Didn't even take a second on
No,
it.
Passion.
You're a number guy.
Yeah,
you're a numbers guy.
It's very inspiring to hear passion, because a lot of people have a 9-to-5 job and they want to hear, oh yeah, I'm so passionate about, being this, and I want to, but that dies. It dies after you start doing the work. You realize, what, this is not as easy as I thought. And so if you're organized and you have a plan and you order yourself to, make that plan happen, you'll stay consistent.
So